A good afternoon, 1 minute to the top of the hour. You're just in time for the latest in the world of news here on TV47 Newsfeed. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm Moige William. Now, kicking off our bulletin, Azimio leader Raila Odinga has rubbished prayer meetings being led by President William Ruto, stating that they won't deter him from organizing countrywide rallies. Raila has also announced that Azimio is set to conduct a special prayer session for IEBC at the Anniversary Towers next week. Raila announced after meeting senators for a luncheon where he revealed that the Senate leadership of the minority side.
This afternoon, we have had a very cordial discussion with members of the Senate, and we have shared information. They have also briefed us about the development in Parliament in general. The changes that have taken place, I'm happy to announce that our leadership in the Senate is now the leader. The minority leader is Honorable Stewart Mazayo, deputed by Honorable Senator Enoch Wambua from Kitui, and the whip is Honorable Ledama Olekina, deputized by Honorable Edwin Sifuna. That is our lineup in the Senate. This is because some officials who were there before have opted to now work with the majority party in the Senate, and we want to be very focused. So I've asked our team to continue to represent Azimio effectively in the House. Azimio stands for the defense of the people of Kenya, the interests of our people in the House, and we want them to continue to articulate issues which are affecting our people right now. We have also talked about the challenges that this country is facing today, the issue of electoral justice that we have been talking about. And this is not an issue that is going to die until it is properly resolved. We have shown beyond doubt.
Away from that, the Directorate of Criminal Investigation has moved to court seeking orders to compel security firm in charge of ex-Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Dr. Fred Matiang'i estate, to provide CCTV footage that captured the alleged presence of police around his compound. The application before the Magistrate Court in Nairobi DCI says they are investigating a case of alleged attempted robbery contrary to Section 297 of the Penal Code as per allegation in the public domain, which has necessitated making of the subject application. Similarly, the DCI says that in the morning of the 9th February 2023, news circulated regarding a purported raid at the residential area within Ngong View in Karen by unknown persons who are alleged to be police officers. DCI further argues that the alleged raid was never sanctioned by the National Police Service, and adding that the investigation seek to unmask the identities of those involved became necessary. However, former CS legal team has criticized the move, raising allegations of a hidden agenda by the investigation agency.
There's an affidavit that has been filed by one of the investigating officer, and one of the investigating officer alleges that there was an attempted robbery at the house of the former CS, and that is the reason they are using to persuade the Honorable Court to grant them these orders. Now, of importance is the High Court has, in a previous occasion, declared that Section 297, which outlawed attempted robbery with violence, and declared it as to be unconstitutional. So one wonders, why will the DCI in their right mind be filing an application to court under the pretense that they are investigating an offense that has already been declared as unconstitutional, seeking to persuade the court on that ground alone to give them an order that will ultimately lead to the violation of the privacy of Dr. C.S. Matiang'i?
This is a fishing expedition, a proper fishing expedition by the DCI to either curtail any element of the assertions that we made, which were true. There were police officers at the CS residency, and this is a veiled attempt in terms of exonerating themselves of the mess that they got themselves into.
Now moving on to matters health. The Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, has revealed that resting malaria mosquitoes has shown higher insecticide resistance. The Ministry of Health has expressed need for more funding to be allocated towards research, as the WHO warns that we continue to experience parasite resistance to drugs, vector resistance to insecticide, and non-effectiveness of malaria-treated nets. This was said today during the ongoing Kenyan National Malaria Forum. The conference will end on Friday.
Global realities demand that we focus our attention to the following three areas. Climate change, I'm glad that this is one of the sub-themes of this conference, because Africa as a continent, we contribute very little in terms of carbon emissions, yet we bear the greatest brunt when it comes to effects of climate change. Now, as a continent in the Horn of Africa region, we are dealing with a devastating drought situation, affecting more than 20 million people whose lives and livelihoods are at risk. In Kenya, more than 4.5 million lives and livelihoods are at risk, including now close to 1 million children who are suffering acute malnutrition due to food insecurity, and another 120 to 130,000 pregnant and lactating women. This not only poses a health risk, but also a security risk. Already this Horn of Africa region is a very fragile area. Add to it now the effect of this drought following fifth consecutive failed long rain season. So it is important that as a country, as a region, and as a global community, we not only develop mitigation measures, but now we strongly require adaptation measures, because climate change is here to stay.
Now moving on, as the drought situation continues to worsen in several parts of the country, attention is brewing between residents of Weteithie and Gatuanyaga ward in Juja and Thika East sub-counties of a local river which has continued to dry downstream. Gatuanyaga residents accuse their Weteithie counterparts of contributing to the drying up of the Njomoko River by diverting the river water to their private farms and a water collection point in Nyakaba, leaving very little that can hardly flow a kilometer. A fiery contest between the residents that was each led by their MCAs Jack Makongo of Gatuanyaga and Muiberi Ngoge of Weteithie saw the residents confront each other armed with spades and pangas over the control of the river. The incident has led to the intervention of police officers who cooled down rising tempers of the residents, promising that the diversions will be cleared to enable its free flow.
Wakati ya kiangazi, sio shida yako au shida yangu. Kwa hivyo watu wanastahili waongee kama ni ration iwekwe. Kama hawa ni wa mchana, hawa wawekwe mchana. Kama hawa ni wa usiku, wawekwe usiku. Sababu sisi hatuwezi kukosa, hatuwezi kufurahia kukosa. Watu wale wengine nao wakose. Sababu binadamu ni binadamu. Na kile kitu kwa faida sana ni uhai. Na uhai ni ya Mungu. Na lazima ichungwe. Hatutaki kuona mtu amekufa sababu ya kia.
Well, elsewhere, Mau Mau veterans and their families have petitioned the government to recognize them and honor them, and honor the promise made by the British government in 2013 that they should be compensated for their efforts to liberate the country from colonialism. Addressing the press in Mwala, Machakos County, a group of 30 Mau Mau veterans led by their chair Johnson Kiiti lamented on the sorry state of their condition, with most saying that they have lived in deplorable houses as many languish in abject poverty. In 2013, the British government agreed to compensate 5,200 Kenyans who were tortured by the colonialists in the 1950s and 1960s. But according to the chair, only a few were compensated. They are now urging the president to intervene and ensure they are given land to settle in as part of recognition of the role they played in achievement of Kenyans' independence.
Baba yangu alikuwa shujaa mwema. Amekaa msituni miaka mingi akipigania uhuru hii tuko naye ya president mheshimiwa wetu Bwana Ruto. Kwa hivyo sisi tunamuuliza kama sisi watoto wa mashujaa wale walikuwa wanapigania uhuru wakumbukwe, kwa sababu hawapati pesa ya uzeeni.
Kesi ilienda Uingereza na tukashinda, tukitwa mtu kitwa mashujaa. na tukapewa hata sikukuu yetu iko ya masuya kwa serikali. Na Britain iliongea vizuri, ikaambia Kibaki ikuenda na masamba, tupewe masamba. Patu hatujaona hiyo masamba, na baba zetu na babu zetu walikuwa wakipikania masamba, na wanakaa nao masamba mpaka wa sasa. Sisi hatuona kitu, na tuna masamba ya kulima, tuna masamba ya kukaa, na wanasema tutapewa. Hawa Britain mwisho ndio walisema tupewe masamba na Kibaki.
Ukiona nyumba za wengine haya hao wazee na mabibi wanakaa nyumba ambazo hazipendezi, wanalala juu ya kitanda ambacho ni kinawekwa na nyusi za kamba.
Now to matters farming. Due to increased fish consumption, in Mount Kenya region, Kirinyaga County government has distributed 254,000 fish fingerlings to farmers to boost fish production. The fingerlings that were given out to 254 farmers are part of the county's elaborate plan to empower farmers to undertake aquaculture as a mainstream activity as opposed to having it as an alternative source of livelihood. Speaking to the press, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru said that one of the processing factories that will be set up in the upcoming Sagana Industrial Park will deal in fish processing, which will see farmers get income boosts from fish farming.
Leo tuko tumekuja samaki zile tumepatiwa na county government yetu ya Kirinyaga County, na waziri amehudhuria na ndio ametupatia samaki, anapatia wakulima wote wa samaki kuonyesha ako na maslahi ya wakulima wa samaki. Na tunafurahia manake vile nimeongea, samaki is part of food security, na kwa vile sisi wakulima wadogo samaki once haitaki area kubwa sana, just within an eighth unaweza kuweka podi yako, na hiyo podi yako unaweka samaki 100 na ukiwa 1000, na hizo samaki ukipatia chakula vizuri na tunapatia chakula, surely you are going to make money, utajisaidia.
Nilianza kulima samaki 2019, then nikakutana na hii mradi ya ABDP, imenisaidia sana, plus ikatupea dam liners, which was a big challenge to us, na sasa tumepata samaki.
Today we are happy to come and launch this phase of fish farming. We have been together with these farmers for the last 3 years, trying to improve on the fish farming. We want to upgrade the fish farming from alternative way of livelihood to a core ways of livelihood. And therefore, today we have 254 farmers who will benefit with the fingerlings and also feeds for fish.
Now moving on to matters education, parents who are colluding with school administrators to aid their children skip the competency-based curriculum by registering them to sit 2023 KCPE examination will be traced through the NEMIS. The Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu says the government will not allow such discrepancies to take place. In some counties, parents reported having lack of faith in CBC, and that is why some were trying to avoid enrolling their children to grade 7. Machogu was speaking from the Kenya School of TVET, where he had a meeting with the principals of National Polytechnics, Institute of Technology, Technical and Training Institutes, Technical and Vocational Colleges, and senior officers in the State Department of Vocational and Training.
Information is captured in NEMIS, so that the registration of students is done right from standard 1, grade 1, and each and every year we make sure that we update that particular data. So the people who were in standard 7 last year who have gone to standard 8, they are properly captured under NEMIS, so that any parent transferring his or her child to another school, probably from level 7 to 8, that will not be acceptable. And within the NEMIS system, it will not be accepted, it will not be captured. So it's something that we are telling people, let children go the normal process. Education is not going anywhere. it is there for them because the way they have started from grade 1 upwards, they should be able to pass through each and every level, each and every class. So that one, I think, is information which is being received, but so far we don't have empirical evidence to say that this number or that number has been able to skip a class.
Political leaders have been accused of failing to provide positive values among leaders in various institutions. The heads of schools led by Cleophas Mutai have blamed the political class for not showing good leadership practice by promoting individual interest as opposed to the interest of the general public. Chichi Josephine reports.
The heads of school have lamented of politicians not portraying the right image to the young generation aspiring to be future leaders, as the conduct of a number of them has had an effect of reversing the gains being made in nurturing good leaders for the future. Speaking at the institution where he had presided over the junior secondary general elections, Mr. Mutai, who is the deputy head teacher at Roots Academy, argued that the students are able to look and see how the political class behave and end up emulating them.
The leaders that we have in this country, they are those leaders that we can say our learners have picked on, and we know very well that they have good characters and they have things that we can emulate. Number one, we talk of persistency, and we talk also about courage. You know, when you believe in something, you pursue it. For example, when we were talking to these learners, we were looking at our president. Our president has been persistent in what he wants.
Some of them are very courageous. It's a character that can be borrowed even by the learners and can be applied when grooming the learners. IEBC as an independent body has in addition taken up a role in training young generation on the electoral process and instill values and nurture them to be responsible citizens.
Katika hii shule nimeona wako na uchangamufu ama yani wamechangamuka katika uchaguzi. Tumewafunza process vile inastahili kuwa. Tumewafunza nini categories mbalimbali kama kasi ya PO, kasi ya deputy presiding officer, kasi ya security.
However, experts say that there is need for a paradigm shift in the manner in which politicians act, such that whatever their decisions should be informed by the need to promote public interest, as these will help the losing candidates accept the results.
After our elections, we declare the winner, and then the person who has been defeated or the runners-up will come up with a acceptance speech. And when the person comes with an acceptance speech, it shows that you've already accepted election results. And that is something that we are fighting, as young as they are, so that we inculcate all these values.
Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Thank you, Chichi, for that report. Elsewhere, Busia Governor Paul Otuoma has warned education stakeholders against holding the county at ransom as the county continues to register poor results in national examinations. Otuoma was addressing education stakeholders in Busia County, where he alluded that education in Busia County is dwindling because of a few people who wants the status quo, adding that it will not be business as usual going forward. Governor Otuoma pointed an accusing finger at the teachers' representative bodies for failing to take the county in the right direction in matters education. Busia Branch Kuppet Secretary General Moffat Okisai lauded the county initiative to revamp education. However, KNUT Secretary General Busia Branch Bwire Majale called on the national government to address the issue of lack of textbooks in grade 6 and 7.
We can't afford some people holding us back because they want the status quo. And some even want to threaten us, they want to do what? We must just decide this thing is not working. And we decide to take a different trajectory as a society. Busia is not playing in the league where we are supposed to play. Wewe watoto wanaanguka kila siku na bado unataka kujifanya wewe ni mwalimu.
That as serious stakeholders in matters education, we can not only be hearers of the word, but we can also give our input on the way forward.
We are going to look at each other in the face. Kuppet, NAT, tutaangaliana. Hatutaangaliana tu mambo ati welfare, tutaangaliana pia mambo, we are major stakeholders ya hii masomo. Masomo yezi kuwa ati we are bottom there na tunasema tunawakilisha watu. You cannot be acciliatory people who are giving us no results. I don't know even when you are going to conferences how you look at your fellow colleagues. Mtu amekuja na one school 90 days when the whole county umebeba 6 days.
They need textbooks for learners. So we want also to ask the national government to provide enough textbook for these CBC learners so that when the county puts on money, we should get the better results. Thank you very much.
Still keeping tabs with matters education, a student from Bisil area in Kajiado County might miss to join Form 1 following her parents' failure to acquire the necessary fees and other learning equipments. Magdalene Selena sat for her KCP exam last year and scored 316 at Bisil Boarding Primary School, a performance that acquired her a place at Kimana Girls School, where she has lost hope of continuing with her studies as the livestock their family was depending on were killed by drought. The former Standard 8 student has embarked on starting a small business of selling water, which will put food on their table.
Ndo kama imeishia hapa shule tena sijui kama naenda, lakini tegemeo langu ni nyinyi well wishers na serikali. Nilikuwa nachota maji, kitu ilifanya nichote maji nilikuwa tunalala njaa na mama wangu ako na mtoto mdogo, so inabidi nichote ili niweze hata angalau tupate chakula.
Sasa imekuwa changamoto kwa sababu ng'ombe zote zimekufa na mbuzi. Sasa sina hata pesa. Sina pesa kumsomesha mtoto.
Ni washirika wangu na kweli wako na mahitaji. Ni watu ambao wamesumbuka sana katika maisha yao. Sana sana kwa sababu ya wakati huu wa kiangazi ambayo imetokea, wamepoteza ng'ombe. Huyu mzee alikuwa na ng'ombe zaidi ya 200, lakini zilikufa zote kwa sababu ya kiangazi. Na mzee ameanza kuona ng'ombe zimeisha, akaanza kushikwa na depression, na kabisa unaona kwamba akili yake iende vizuri kwa sababu ya akikumbuka ng'ombe. Tumekuwa tukiwashauri, tukimshauri, tukimuongelesha, ndipo maana nilikuwa naona kabisa ni mtu anayefanya maamuzi ambayo hayafai. Hata mtoto mwenyewe amekuwa na shida halali kwa sababu ya akiona watoto wengine wameenda shule.
Now moving on to matters politics, Governor Wavinya Ndeti remarks that Raila Odinga should support Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, and if not so, Ukambani community will not rally behind Odinga in the forthcoming election, have sparked mixed reactions, with a section of the residents terming Wavinya's remarks as reckless.
Angalia ndume hii na ukitoa una change kidogo ndio upate breed nyingine. Kwa hivyo tunataka at least hata kama sio lazima hatusemi ni lazima, lakini ingewezekana Kalonzo angekuwa supported na Raila, ndio hiyo kitu tuone kama tunaweza chukua.
Kwanza nashukuru Wavinya kwa vile ameongea kitu ikafungua Wakamba macho. Tumesupport Raila kwa miaka mingi, ile kusema ukweli. Sasa tunataka Raila akae kwa mgongo ya Kalonzo hapo nyuma amsupport. Kwa sababu miaka tumemsupport, tumeona ni kama sisi Wakamba tunadharauiwa.
Pia Raila asupport Kalonzo. Tuone kama atachukua hiyo president 2027. Taezana tu. Atafanyana akiwa wawili kwa kiwanja. Tuwezi jua.
Hiyo ni jambo hao nachukulia kama ni matamshi ambao hana ubusara ndani yake. Nao ni matamshi ambao ni careless, na ni matamshi ukiyafuatilia ni matamshi ambao iko na ubinafsi sana. Ni kwa nini nasema hii ni matamshi ya ubinafsi? Tumemuona Governor Wavinya Ndeti akisema hadharani ya kuwa anaenda kumuunga Rais Ruto mkono, na akasema atafanya kazi na yeye, na tumeona hata hajaonekana katika zile mikutano za maandamano za Azimio. Hajaonekana kule. Na kwa hivyo sasa yeye sababu hajaonekana kule, katika akili za watu wengi wanajua yeye anafanya kazi na Kenya.
Well, those remarks by Wavinya Ndeti also follow up a meeting by Raila Odinga which was held today, where he consolidated a good number of Azimio senators, bringing together even the leadership of the House, that is the Senate, that was led by Stewart Matsayo, and whereby Raila Odinga also announced the new leadership of the House. This is a move to consolidate Azimio la Umoja, which in the recent days has been having some shaky, whereby Jubilee members have been, a section of Jubilee members have been threatening to walk out of Azimio la Umoja coalition. Now, moving on, let's get sporty. Now, Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba earlier today unveiled the Talanta Hela Sports Technical Committee that will spearhead a Talanta Hela project, a front-runner project that aims in developing grassroots and monetizing talents in sports. The project is in line with the government's bottom-up sports transformation agenda and aims to identify, recruit, nurture, market, and monetize talent. It's also set to work with the education system to identify schools that will act as sports academies. The initiative will begin with football this year, with the launch of bottom-up tournaments expected to happen this month, and then other sports to follow in the subsequent years. The Talanta Hela Council and Sports Technical Committee will be led by veteran sports journalist Carol Radul, world javelin medalist Julius Yego, former football international Boniface Ambani, and Sami Sholei, among others.
Because we are launching a flagship program that's going to determine really the priorities of our ministry and how we execute them. We do realize that the world has changed. We no longer have to wear a tie and a coat to get a job or to make a living or even to create wealth. So it's reached a point as a country that really we must be creative.
I've largely been working alone with a few friends here and there. It's time to go together. I have a good team that's been put together, the Sports Technical Committee. I have a really good team that we're going to work alongside with. I reiterate, we're not here to do any federation's work. They have their work cut out for them. We have a lot of work cut out for us.
We have made it very clear in our presentation that this Talanta Hela initiative is an integrated program, very, very integrated.
Also, Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba earlier today inspected the progress of upgrading the state of Moi International Sports Center Kasarani. The progress of upgrading the most prestigious sports facility in the country failed to meet the CAF and FIFA stadium standards due to its poor condition. The upgrading sees the installation of seats in areas that were not covered, FIFA standards technical and substitution bench. Speaking after the inspection, Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba says that Kenya wants to compete with sports heavyweight in the world, and they have to consider upgrading and building world-class facilities.
Work is going on. You cannot be impressed with something that is incomplete. So after it's complete, we'll come and see. I will only declare my level of satisfaction after I also get the experts to tell us, because you want CAF to come here and look at what has been done and tell us whether it is of the right standard. It's not very useful to invest millions of shillings in a project and then CAF comes and tells you still you're not up to scratch. Yes, so the DG knows that we want to host big events, and we want to be on a level where we can compete for those events. The competition is really stiff. We are interested in the AFCON 2027. I've just been tracking our potential rivals who are also indicating interest. And so it is going to be a very fierce